retirees were talking about naughty acts in a cafe. When they finished, the two retirees pay their bill and leave the cafe. A young man sitting next to them has overheard the conversation and smiles to himself, thinking it would be quite amusing to see two old retirees going at it. He gets up and follows them. Sure enough, he sees the two old retirees near the factory. The little old lady pulls off her panties and lifts up her dress. The old man pulls down his pants and grabs the lady's hips, and the little old lady then reaches for the fence. Well, what follows is 40 minutes of the most athletic the man has ever seen. The little old man is banging away at the little old woman at a pace that only can be described as phenomenal. Limbs are flying everywhere, the movement is a blur, and they do not stop for a single round. Finally, they collapse and don't move for an hour. The man is stunned. Never in his life has he ever seen anything that equates to this. Not in the movies. Not from his friends. Not from his own experiences. Reflecting on what he has just seen, he says to himself, I have to know his secret. If only I could like that now, let alone in 50 years' time. The two old retirees have by this time recovered and dressed themselves. Gathering the courage, he approaches the older man. He says, Sir, in all my life I have never seen anybody screw like that, particularly at your age. What's your secret? Could you like that 50 years ago? The retiree replies, Son, 50 years ago that fence wasn't electric. Attractive young woman had finished taking golf lessons from the club pro. She had just started playing her first round of golf when she got a bee sting. The pain was so intense she decided to return to the clubhouse. Her golf pro saw her come into the clubhouse and asked, Why are you back so early? What's wrong? I was stung by a bee, was her reply. Where? He asked. Between the first and second hole. He nodded knowingly and said, Then your stance is too wide. Old couple had been married for 50 years. They were sitting at the breakfast table one morning when the old gentleman said to his wife, Just think, we've been married for 50 years. Yeah, she replied. Just think. 50 years ago we were sitting here at this breakfast table together. I know, the old man said, but we were probably sitting here stark 50 years ago. Well, Granny snickered. What do you say? Should we strip? So the two stripped to the buff and sat down at the table. You know, honey, the little old lady said, my nipples are as hot for you today as they were 50 years ago. I wouldn't be surprised, replied Gramps. One is in your coffee and the other one is in your porridge. Man wakes up one morning with the worst hangover and no recollection of the night before. Slowly opening his eyes, he sees a bottle of aspirin and a glass of water on the beside table. He looks around the room to find his clothes are neatly folded on the dresser with a clean shirt on top. The bedroom is immaculate. On the beside table is a note that says, Darling, your breakfast is in the kitchen. I love you. Downstairs, he finds his favorite cereal, croissant, fresh OJ, and freshly brewed coffee waiting for him, along with the morning paper and his 15-year-old son, who is finishing his own breakfast. Tell me, son, he asks, what happened last night? Well, says the boy, you came home so drunk you didn't even know your own name. You nearly broke the door down. Then you were sick in the hallway. Then you knocked the furniture over, and when mom tried to calm you down, you thought she was the police. So you gave her a black eye. Christ, says the man. Then how come my clothes are folded, the house is tidy, and my breakfast is ready? When mom dragged you into the bedroom and tried to get your pants off to put you into your bed, you shouted at her, Get your filthy hands off of me. I'm married.